rage fits into it.
Well, there's a lot of rage around nowadays, isn't there? It's like, what's that thing? Science, critical mass, that's it. We have reached a critical mass of rage nowadays.
Well, I don't know why.
You don't know why?
Well, no, I don't get this critical mass of rage nowadays. All right, I agree with you, it's there.
Huh. So you pay attention to the daily news.
Well, how could I avoid it?
There are ways.
I suppose so. There's no shortage of old films, old books, old TV shows, old songs, and all the rest of it, for those who care to subjugate the news. But in the end, what's the point? Sooner or later, all these obedient servants of nostalgia will drop the ball. Some villain in an old Western will start to look just a little too much like Hitler. Some piece of wicked sorcery in a novel will start to resemble America's Great Depression, or some group fighting a horde of B-movie zombies will face a situation just like this country did in Iraq and Afghanistan. And then you realize, like a dagger in your mind, that sooner or later, the daily communal reality just seeps through into everything. You disagree?
No idea, but I didn't want to interrupt you because you're clearly on a roll there with all your blah, blah, blah.
But my point is, what's so unique about critical mass of rage now? Back in Christ's neck of the woods, when he walked the earth, the average life expectancy was what, 30 years of age? And in the last century, America had Prohibition and the Great Depression, and the whole planet, 2 world wars and the Holocaust. So when was this great golden age when greed and bigotry and war and arrogant ignorance weren't all getting more than their fair share? These bad new days, they're just the same as the bad old days. It's just a newer edition.
You're missing something.
I'm sitting tied to a chair with possibly less than 30 minutes to live, and I never thought I'd ever find myself in this. So yes, I'm missing a lot of things. Enlighten me.
This.
Oh, I can see it's your phone. How am I missing it?
No, idiot. Put it together.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
In the old days, through the 1920s, a politician could say one thing in one town and something completely different in another town, and no one would ever know.
The hypocrisy of politicians. Every speech not fitting in with all of the others, and they got away with it because nobody knew.
Well, some did, but they never told anyone.
Oh, they told each other.
So, the sword of justice is in your left hand.
In a manner of speaking.
We video the symptoms but can't turn the camera on the disease.
We're reading deep into metaphor land here, aren't we?
Oh, you're the one in charge. It's easy enough to shut me up if that's what you want. I've already worked out that the walls are soundproof. I remember being delivered here, black bag over my head, tied to this chair. Then my gag was removed and I shouted myself hoarse.
How could I forget? My ears still hurt from that.
Well, let's put it this way. Maybe all I'll get out of this is getting you to tell me to get stuffed. Or perhaps that's what you want.
We put a TV or a radio in here and you start to get some idea of where you are, stuff about the time and the day. We're not having that.
Fine. Rules of the house and all that.
Oh yeah, I'm in charge. But I'm really, well, you'll see.
Years ago, when I was in school, grammar school, maybe earlier, one day I get sent to the headmaster's study.
Everybody's a bad little kid at some early point. This revelation is nowhere near to impressing me.
I haven't finished yet. At least, not with this story. I get sent to the head study, and I don't know why.
What did he tell you?
He didn't tell me anything. He just kept saying repeatedly, "Thought you were really clever, weren't you? Thought you'd get away with it, didn't you?" Like that, over and over.
Well, what did he eventually tell you?
But he never eventually told me anything. I still don't know why. But I'm sure it all made perfect sense to him.
You needed to be telling the head a different type of story.
I did tell him a story, the truth. But I never found out what he was talking about, and he never believed me.
No, not what I mean.
Fine. I suppose tying me up, making me feel a victim because I allowed myself to become a victim. That gives you the physical advantage over me, so why not take the verbal advantage as well?
From the time you're born, from the time we're all born, stories teach us.
What, you mean like fairy tales and such like?
Yeah, I suppose. And everybody needs to read The Emperor's New Clothes at least once and understand it. But the stories go on, don't they? Every religion has a story to tell, for example. And who cares if any of them are historically true or not? What a stupid argument. Are they stories worth telling? Because what do they teach?
What do you mean, like in an alternate universe, Jesus Christ is born on earth, and when he reaches 30 years old, he gets a sword of heavenly power with which to smite all the sinners?
Oh, wow. That would be awful. Do you like any sports?
Sport, God. Let me think. Tennis, I think.
Huh, good choice, good choice. No endless strategizing that is a barely disguised ruse to get everybody to think in military terms about, well, everything, really.
I said tennis.
You just keep the ball flying back and forth over the net. It's not clever or exciting or violent. That's the better story to teach about life.
I said tennis because of the shaking of hands at the end. Not like football with the gloating celebration after a goal.
Yeah. Every year, the FA Cup final is the biggest hit on television, and there's so much sadness. Just so much, just hiding right there in plain sight.
We miss the shaking of hands.
Yeah, me too. And the stories go on. You watch a movie, or you go on the internet, or you turn on the TV. You buy loaf of bread X instead of loaf of bread Y. That head, the world he lived in, needed to be hearing different stories.
Well, though I wasn't clever enough to realize it at the time, but over the years, looking back at that anecdote, I've come to the conclusion that that head had heard all the stories about cowboys capturing and killing the bad guys he needed to hear. He wanted to hear the one about the man who woke up one morning as a giant cockroach.
Oh, good one.
You know, just once.
Yeah. Men like that are always a minute away from saying, one way or another, that everybody needs to be a warrior. They say that all men needed to be that way, but they cut women some slack. Nowadays, I think women are treated the same way too. Always made about as much sense to me as everybody needing to be a ballerina.
Oh, I wouldn't mind that. So if I do only have a few minutes to live, I can now reveal that my two greatest regrets in life are my lousy math skills and my two left feet. That's why I'm sure the literal devil doesn't exist. If he did, he'd show up, buy up my soul, and I'd get to fill those two gaps in my skill set.
Creative minds in isolation, sir. We've been dancing like this for, let's have a look, 13 minutes. And a game is a game, but there's no point in a game unless it eventually ends.
We've been playing a game.
In a manner of speaking, yeah.
Well, what sort of... You've been lying to me about something.
Yes, a criminal lying to you. And you're shocked, positively shocked, I say. Clutch your pearls because, oh my God, you can't breathe.
Well, if you and your friends did all the lying you needed to when you kidnapped me. Look, I'm no expert on crime,
Oh,
but...
pat yourself on the back for your honesty. A lot of people with no kind of badge at all think that they are.
Well, someone like you is lying when they walk into a convenience store to rob it. For the first few minutes, they're lying, pretending they haven't got a gun. Then lying even by not saying a word, and then you take the gun out and demand money, and, well, the lying has to stop.
Another scenario. Oh, good. That's one thing you can say about the two of us over the past couple of minutes.
What's that?
We've had no shortage of scenarios.
What are you doling now?
All right. Let's
God.
think about the boy. I assume it's a boy with the gun in the shop.
Well, let's make it Moses taking a break from the Old Testament. Look, the question still stands. What the hell are you doing?
I'm going to add a third character.
Well, who else do you need?
Someone comes into the shop after the gun comes out.
Well, this is ridiculous.
And the boy... Sorry, but making it Moses really doesn't work for me.
God's
and the
sake.
boy has never seen our third character before in his life, but he gives the money to the third person and says, "Get out now."
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Now, you're telling me you've never heard of Robin Hood?
Well, of course I've heard of Robin Hood. Who hasn't heard of him? But, well, supposing this third person is, well, I don't know, a hedge fund manager, somebody rich.
Oh, why would a hedge fund manager shop in a convenience store?
Oh, look, please, what are you going to do? Please, I've got 15 minutes yet. 15 minutes, right? Time for your friends to tell you when my family
If
will pay
your
the
family.
ransom. When my family will pay the ransom. Well, it's 15 minutes. Oh, God, please check your watch. Oh, please, what are you going to do?
We're all born, and we live for a while. Fair is fair. Some of us, not all of us, frankly, but some of us accomplish amazing things.
Oh, that's kind of you with this mood change of yours.
Oh, I thought you'd been paying better attention than that. And then sooner or later, we all die. And then what? Nothing? Heaven? Hell? Limbo? Another life? What? I'm jealous.
I don't know. Why are you jealous? I don't know.
Because you get to find out before me.
Oh, please don't. What are you going to do, please? No.
Isn't time just one of those things? Bang, 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 bang.
You're crazy.
Oh.
You're mad. You're mad.
Oh, you can insult me all you like. Oh, I'm still the one with the gun.
What was
you
the
know,
point
this
of that?
this
What was
one,
the
and
bloody-
you're still the one tied to that chair.
No, please. What are
I
you gonna
already
do?
told you. I flat out confessed that none of this was about the money.
Oh, you're not this critical mass of rage again. I thought we dealt with
Oh,
that.
don't worry. The finish line's in sight. All right. What is the basis of civilization?
Well, I don't bloody know.
Oh, sounds like somebody doesn't want to play anymore.
No, I don't.
The basis of civilization is expectation. You know, I think people with this lifestyle, mine, are almost always part of a checklist for any society. Some kind of family, some type of government, some type of entertainment, some type of criminal. I love those cops who moan about having to care about civil liberties. You know, in a dictatorship, they solve a murder or a robbery by making a list of suspects and executing them one by one until one of them confesses. But a dictatorship, even them, has people like me, because the vigilante fantasy is always more fantasy than vigilante. But what is unusual, what is rare, is the criminal who realizes that his or her life choices are nothing more than a way of saying
Help,
no.
please. Help me.
So why stop there? Why stop anywhere? Why not make the no as large as a mountain and it get larger and larger and larger until it finally blots out the sun? It's a no that if enough people say it, it finally reboots this lousy, failed civilization, because it's blatantly obvious to anybody watching the daily news that we're not going to get, in any kind of way, any kind of apocalypse. None of us are going to be so lucky.
Oh, God, what are you going to do?
The same thing I was always going to do.
I don't deserve this, please.
The same thing that my friends are going to do when they get here in a few minutes, while the cops and MI5 are too busy caring about the instructions about the money.
I don't want to die. Please don't kill me. Please.